This week we explore the nature of planned change. Conceptions of planned change are also called theories of changing, and they focus on how change can be implemented in organizations. A particular set of behaviors at any moment in time is the result of two groups of forces, those striving to maintain the status quo and those pushing for change. To change, one could increase the force pushing for change or decrease the force maintaining the current state. Lewin viewed the change process as 3 steps: unfreezing, or ensuring that employees are ready for change, executing that intended change, and finally refreezing, or ensuring that the change becomes permanent. The classic action research model focuses on planned change as a cyclical process in which initial research about the organization provides information to guide subsequent action. That starts with identifying the problem. You then gather and interpret data. You act on any evidence, evaluate your results, determine next steps, and repeat the process. Both Lewin's theory and action research are preliminary deficit-based in that they focus on the organization's problems and how they can be solved. The positive model focuses on what the organization is doing right. This process is called the appreciative inquiry, or AI. It involves 5 main steps. First, you want to initiate the inquiry. Then inquire into best practices, discover the themes, envision a preferred future, and then design and deliver ways to create that future. The models overlap in their emphasis on action to implement organizational change, is preceded by a preliminary stage, and is followed by a closing stage. They apply behavioral science knowledge. They also stress involvement of organizational members. They recognize a role of a consultant. However, they differ in whether the approach is focused on what is right or what is wrong, the degree of participation involvement, and the focus of the change, whether it's problem solving or social constructivism. The 3 models of planned change that we just discussed is a general framework for planned change, which is shown here. The general model identifies the steps an organization moves through when implementing change and specifies the activities needed to impact that change. The 4 steps of the activities include entering and contracting. Entering an organization involves gathering initial data to understand the problems facing the organization or determine the positive areas of inquiry. Once this information is collected, the problems are discussed. Organizational members develop a contract or agreement to engage in the planned change. Next, we have diagnosis. In this stage, we focus on understanding organizational problems, including their causes and consequences, or on collecting stories about the organization's positive attributes. Next, we have planning and implementing change. In this stage, the participants design interventions to achieve the organization's vision or goals and make action plans to improve them. And lastly, we have evaluating and institutionalizing change. In this final stage, the effects of the intervention are evaluated and a plan is made to ensure the change continues. Although the general model of planned change suggests that OD is a straightforward process, most OD efforts do not proceed according to a neat timetable or preset sequence of events. The application of OD in a particular organization or situation requires in the process of planned change. There are 3 dimensions of particular interest. First, we have our magnitude of change. Planned change efforts can be characterized as falling along a continuum, ranging from incremental changes to fundamental changes. Next, we have the degree of organization. Planned change efforts can be very dependent on the degree to which the organization or client system is organized. And finally, we have domestic versus international settings. These change attempts must take culture into consideration. Of course, there are critiques of planned change as well. Planned change is thought of as an orderly, rational process, but each situation is different and the context must be considered. Change is not linear. It's not rational. The relationship between change and performance is oftentimes unclear. Then we have the practice of planned change. Change is oftentimes needed, but how the change takes place can vary. There are many methods that can be used to facilitate change.